Welcome back to Duelists. So today we are going to check a couple of more deals and analyze. So when we look at our opponent hand, we have one hand trap, two combo starters, and two more cards that we can use for our benefit. And our opponent is playing Exosisters. You're probably familiar with it. They immediately go for Caramel and activate her effect, and we chain with Ghost Ogre. Now at that moment I don't know why they don't chain back, because I think they can. Like most of the time when I face against Exosisters, they chain with Caramel one more time and negate my activation. But this guy just doesn't prefer. Maybe I'm missing something because I don't know much about the deck. So we can assume that they have 2 or 3 interruptions, and I start with Miracle Ejector, and then they chain with their trap. Normally you could also start with Stratos, but I just wanted my opponent to waste all of their resources on Miracle Ejector, because they are going to first summon their monster to the field, and then they are going to resolve their spell cards, and then they will do more Xyz plays. So pretty standard Exosister plays happening right now. We search for EN Shuffle. I'm about to activate it. They go for Caramel again. And also field. They resolve their effects. Now, I activate Triple Tactics Talent. They chain with Caramel. And then I chain with Droplets by sending 3 cards. And then they chain with their trap card. So let's pause the duel for a moment and try to understand this chain. What's going to happen is they will go for Xyz Summon by using these 2 monsters. Okay, so Magnifica is on the field. Now Forbidden Droplet will try to resolve itself, but the problem is this: I have sent 3 cards to the graveyard, and Forbidden Droplet is trying to negate 3 monsters on the field. But unfortunately it checks the field. Right now there are only 2 monsters on the field, so that means Forbidden Droplet's effect will not resolve and it goes to the graveyard immediately. I'm going to use the effect of Triple T and get control of Magnifica. So basically what happened here was we still have the advantage. We get rid of one of their monsters, we use their effect to banish this monster, the same monster, and my opponent is going to do the same. So both of them will banish each other. So now you can see the field is empty. My opponent doesn't have any more interruptions. The only card that I have played was Miracle Ejector at the beginning, and then I resolved my other cards. We haven't even used our normal summon. We haven't even used our Fusion Destiny. And as you can see, I'm doing full combos. I'm trying to finish my opponent because I'm certain that my opponent doesn't have any more interruptions. And we easily win the match by attacking with Dark Love. Luckily we had cards like Forbidden Droplet, so that's how we break their board and win the match. So we are playing our second duel and we are going first. When we look at this hand, we actually have one of the best hands that we have so far. We have a Hero Lives, which is a combo starter, Foolish Burial, another combo starter, Miracle Ejector, another combo starter. You might say that Denier is the brick here, and we have Imperm. Ash Blossom would be much better in case our opponent plays Maxi or Follows, but Imperm is still a nice card, because after we build our board we can still set it and use it. So let's just activate a Hero Lives, and the moment I activate Hero Lives, my opponent chains with double Follows. So that means we are in trouble. Now we need to think about what to do here. Are we going to push further and build a full board, or are we going to take precautions? So I felt that if my opponent is playing that many hand traps, that means his deck is built around so many hand traps and board breakers. This time I do something different, and instead of summoning Stratos, I special summon Shadow Mist. In this situation, because we special summon, we actually use her other effect, which searches Mask Change. But the moment I try to resolve it, my opponent plays Ash Blossom. So this was kind of unfortunate, but this was kind of expected. But we don't give up. We still have Foolish Burial. We can get benefit from it because we can send Fountain to the graveyard in order to search for Mask Change. So basically my opponent just wasted their Ash Blossom, and we are still safe. We set Imperm and pass turn. Now you might be thinking, well, this board is not that strong, so how are we going to survive? Well, we still have Dark Love, and as you know, Dark Love is a strong floodgate, so that means we are still going to have some chance to win this duel. Now my opponent is playing Purrely, but we don't care about it, we just continue doing our combos. We try to activate Shadow Mist effect, and our opponent plays another Ash Blossom. So again, as I told you, our opponent has so many hand traps. And I forgot to mention, but when you look at your opponent's graveyard, they also just discarded Nibiru. So we are actually lucky that we didn't push our board, because if we would, then that means our opponent would activate Nibiru. So you can see how many hand traps he has. 2 Ash Blossom, 2 Fuvalos, 1 Nibiru, and the moment I resolve Imperm, my opponent doesn't have many other plays to play, because not only he won't be able to resolve his effect, and also I have Dark Glow on the field. Now, not only we are banishing his cards, but also he tried to search a card and we use Dark Glow's other effect to banish it. Now, the only thing that he can do is Exi summon, but that's not going to help him at all, because we got this duel. He knows that in the next turn I'm going to finish him, because I have another combo starter in my hand and he doesn't have any interruptions. So as you can see, we still won this duel against so many hand traps. So this time we are playing against Lunalight, and unfortunately we bricked. We have Visionary Affairs in our hand, we have double Forbidden Droplet and double Imperm, which is unfortunate. So we try to negate by using Imperm. By the way, before I activate Imperm, I've checked this card's effect. So basically, sending a card from their deck to the graveyard is a cost. So that means I cannot negate that action happening. But still, I thought that maybe he can get benefit from other abilities. So just for in case, I played Imperm, and I already have a second copy, so I didn't worry about it. So my opponent plays Mask Change 2. So I was like, what the hell has just happened? I mean, we are the one who are playing hero cards. I mean, where did this card come from? He literally hard draw Mask Change and he just summoned Dark Glow. So now we have to show this guy who is the real hero player. And that's why we are going to activate Imperm and immediately negate the effect of Dark Glow, because you know our deck relies on graveyard effects, so that's why we have to get rid of Dark Glow's Floodgate effect. So I start with Stratos effect, make my search, and then I go for Miracle Ejector, so the usual combo, but my opponent just activates Dominus Impulse, which I wasn't expecting, to be fair. And luckily he just negates the effect, because he doesn't have any more trap cards in his graveyard. If he would, then that means he would destroy my card, and that means I wouldn't be able to special summon Fairies from my hand, because if you remember, I need to discard 1 hero monster as a cost. So now I can special summon Fairies because I still have a hero card in my hand. And the moment my opponent sees this, he just surrenders. Now we have a final match to talk about, and that is going to be another Exosisters match. The reason why you are seeing so many different decks is because this is the festival event, and that's why we are not seeing those meta decks such as Branded, Kevultun or Radiant Typhoon, etc. I mean, it's better because most of the time you are probably seeing this deck, so that's why it's good to see different decks for a change. Now, our opponent has a full board because we unfortunately couldn't be able to draw a single hand trap, so we couldn't be able to interrupt them. However, we have a lot of combo starters. Let's see how we can beat this board, and we're going to start by activating Rota, and our opponent is playing their first interruption, which is Ash Blossom. But that's okay, we still have more plays to do, so maybe I should have first activate a Dusted Gold. Who knows? I was actually kinda afraid of Troll Lockbird. So we are going to activate Miracle Ejector's effect and we are trying to resolve it. But the moment I try to resolve it, they start activating their cards. So what's gonna happen is they will just summon more monsters to their fields and they are going for Exi summon. So that means we are in trouble, because they will have more interruptions to stop our plays. So I just wait them to resolve their effects. So that's why I'm fast forwarding this part. Now we activate EN Shuffle, but my opponent chains with Magnifica, which was expected, because if I don't control Miracle Ejector, that means I won't have any target for EN Shuffle. So this is somewhat a negation, you can consider like that. I activate a Dusted Gold's effect. My opponent chains with Magnifica one more time. And this time they are going to summon Caramel. I search for Dark Contact and activate it immediately, but then they negate with Caramel, which was also expected. So I'm still holding my Fusion Destiny so that I can do more plays. Now I activate Fusion Destiny in order to special summon DPE. And my opponent plays their last trap, but then I have to chain because it says they can banish DPE. So that's why I chain with DPE, but then they activate Gibreen's effect, which is literally negating DPE's effect. So that means I'm in big trouble. But I still have one more play, which is Malicious and Deny from my graveyard. So first I special summon Malicious, and then They activate their effect one more time and banish my militias. Unfortunately, we have pressed every single button and they had so many interruptions, 5, 6, I didn't count. So in the end, we unfortunately lose against Exosisters. I mean, if we would have at least one hand trap, we would still have a better chance, but unfortunately that's all we can do. And I think it was still a great match because we have tried really hard, we had so many combo starters, but you cannot win every war. So that was pretty much for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed the duels. Feel free to drop your feedback so that I can give you a reply and help you about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.